So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashish Kochar. I'm the system administrator of the company, a micro certified professional. So today's training is all about Microsoft OneDrive. So there are a lot many things that you need to understand about OneDrive. It is not just a storage thing that you generally use, but there are a lot more into it. So let's begin this training session. So today's agenda would be what is Microsoft OneDrive? We'll check. OneDrive evaluation and versioning we will check. Then what are the benefits of Microsoft OneDrive that we will check. And we'll also try to get an understanding on OneDrive for Business and how is it different from OneDrive. We'll also try to know how to access OneDrive for Business from different mediums. We'll also see how are we going to use OneDrive for business. What is the actual use of that OneDrive? We'll see the OneDrive dashboard. We'll try to understand what are the options or what are the panes on that OneDrive dashboard. Then we'll see OneDrive versus Dropbox. We'll also see how to manage files in OneDrive for business. And then we'll also learn how to share files via OneDrive. And at the end, we'll see we'll also learn to collaborate with others during the editing process when we share any file. So the goal of this training would be to get an understanding of what Microsoft OneDrive can do for you. We'll highlight some key features to help increase your productivity, to get work done faster with some interesting ways and some tips and tricks. And at the end, there would be a short survey to have an understanding from this training. So let's begin with an introduction. What is OneDrive? So it's more of like a Dropbox. This Microsoft OneDrive is a web-based storage because we are having Microsoft OneDrive for business. So it's basically a web-based storage and sharing platform. It sits alongside its bigger sister, SharePoint. So to provide a more personal experience for end users to store their private files or to collaborate with others, both inside and outside the organization. So Willist, SharePoint is very much an organization-wide storage and collaboration solution. So few people might be wondering the SharePoint who are already aware what is SharePoint. They might be thinking that OneDrive and SharePoint are quite similar, but OneDrive provides a cut down and more individual experience. Like if you want to share your own personal files, which you are having on your desktop documents. So it is more like that instead of, sharing files that you were doing it earlier via the app server. So OneDrive provides a cut down, more individual experience and is more often like to be being the My Documents replacements. Like you are having My Documents on your computer. So instead of having My Documents, you can use this OneDrive in order to store all your documents. So there are different platforms on which you can use OneDrive and you can download OneDrive. So you can download OneDrive on all these platforms as it shows that you can download it on Mac, PCs, Windows tablets, Androids, iOS, Windows Phone, Xbox as well. You can download OneDrive setup and you can start using it. So now here we are using OneDrive for Business, which is a package comes with Office 365. So it's basically a subscription that we have already taken for Office 365 for all the users having different type of licenses. And within that, this OneDrive for Business comes along with this subscription. So which means we do not have to pay anything extra in order to get the storage of OneDrive. We are having this storage along with Office 365, which is a very good thing. Like you are not paying anything subscription wise separately other than the Office 365 you are having. So these, if you see the cloud things, these are all part of Office 365. Like you are having Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, OneDrive, Link, SharePoint, Exchange, OneNote. So these all comes along with one single license of Office 365. So this is the OneDrive evolution. So if you can see how it looks in 2007, how the logo of this OneDrive looks in 2007. After then it became Windows Live SkyDrive. You might have heard about this SkyDrive thing. So it was nothing but the OneDrive, but initially it was known as a SkyDrive. So 2007 to 2008, it's SkyDrive, and after then 2008 to 10, again it's Windows Live SkyDrive. They have just changed the logo to Windows, and then from 2010 to 2011, you can see how the logo looks like. Likewise, 2011 to 12, 12 to 14, and then after 2014, they changed the name of this SkyDrive to OneDrive, and now it is OneDrive for Business. That looks like a normal cloud, a single cloud. So this was how the OneDrive having its evolution. 2007, it was known as Groove. So people call it as a Groove instead of OneDrive. Then 2010, they changed this name from Groove to SharePoint Workspace, where they were collaborating files. And 2013 onwards, they changed the name to SkyDrive Pro. And after then, 2014 onwards, as I have shown you earlier, they changed the name to OneDrive and later OneDrive for Business. So technically, OneDrive for Business is not really a new application. It started in 2007. It's just the name changes over a period of time. So it has been around in from form or another since 2007. As I said, different names, evolving features, etc. You can the best part of this OneDrive is why should we use this OneDrive? So you can save by utilizing the 1 TB of OneDrive storage that comes with your Office 365 subscription, which means you are having 1 TB of cloud storage. So you can save all your data, even your company data, which you are saving on your local desktops, documents, or somewhere in CD drives. You can directly upload that data on OneDrive for Business on cloud, and you can actually restore your space, your actual system space. You can save by just uploading the data to the OneDrive, and the data is 1 TB, which is huge. So people might not have consumed even 500 GB. So they might have kept the documents on their desktops, on their systems, and after certain time, they are short of space. So in that case, the best solution is to upload the data, time by time to OneDrive. And if somebody has to think about the security, so don't worry about that, because it comes with a Microsoft security. You all know that you are having email addresses like Hotmail, Outlook, then you are also having Google email addresses, Gmail and all. So we are having very confidential emails on those platforms. So likewise, this comes with Microsoft, which means if you are uploading any data to Microsoft OneDrive, it will be saved with your credentials only. So only if somebody knows your credentials, then only they can access your OneDrive, otherwise they won't. So there are different type of security authentication that you can apply on your OneDrives. Like nowadays, multi-factor authentication you can put on OneDrive, so that if somebody else is trying to log into your OneDrive using your user ID and password, which is your email address, in that case, it should prompt for a code like OTP first, and that OTP will come only to you on your phones or on your other email address. So likewise, you can put different authentication methods in order to secure your data on OneDrive. So this is a OneDrive versioning. Like, how are we going to check the version of our current OneDrive? So the type of site is file hosting service. It's basically a file hosting service that you are hosting your files on OneDrive on cloud. This OneDrive is available in 107 languages. Different countries are having different languages. So this OneDrive is present in all those languages. So list of languages are there. And then owner of this OneDrive is, of course, Microsoft. URL, how you can access this OneDrive is onedrive.com. You just have to enter, and you can see the login screen where you can access your OneDrive. And this OneDrive was launched on August 1st, 2007, which is like 15 years ago. So let's check first of all how we can check the version of our OneDrive. So as it says, you need to click on the OneDrive cloud icon and then help and settings about Microsoft OneDrive. Let's try to check. So if you see at the bottom here, there is a cloud icon which is of OneDrive that says OneDrive MHY query. So you right click on that, you go to this settings, help and settings icon. Then you go to settings, and here under about, you will see your version of OneDrive. So this is your version of OneDrive, which is built. It shows you the build 22.191 plus 164-bit, and then 2022 Microsoft Corporation. So which means your version is up to date. So that's how you can check your version. Apart from that, you are having multiple option. If you go to settings, like how do you want this OneDrive to get started? As soon as you open your computer or as soon as you sign into Windows, this OneDrive should automatically logged in. If you want like that, then you just check this option. Otherwise, you can uncheck. Automatically pause sync. Like sync is it keeps on syncing your files from your local desktop to OneDrive. It automatically uploads whenever you are saving any file on your OneDrive folder on your system. It automatically syncs and it uploads on your OneDrive. So that option you can check and uncheck accordingly here. Then there are multiple options how to automatically pause the syncing. Notification before many files that I delete on my PC are removed from the cloud, I should get a notification when I'm pausing the sync on of this OneDrive. I should get this notification. And then files on demand, like we are saving space and download files as you use them. Okay, likewise, you have this account option where it will show you how much storage do you have. Like here, it is already showing that I'm having 1 TB of storage. So 1024 GB means 1 TB of storage you are having, out of which I have just consumed 2.3 GB. So likewise, you can also check how much storage do you have and how much storage have you consumed. So there are three different locations on which I have already started the sync. Like I am syncing my OneDrive folder on my system. From there, whatever files I will put into OneDrive folder, it will automatically sync to OneDrive online. Then, IT general folder I have put in, then IT internal meeting folder I have put in. So likewise, you can also manage your backups from this option. And then network, you can see the network upload rate and download rate. If you want to limit, you can limit. Otherwise, it's always better to set it on don't limit, so that if the speed is more, it will automatically upload on that particular speed. Then office, because it comes with office, so this option should always be checked in. Then about, as I've already shown you, that is for the versioning. So this is what is all about. The next thing is benefits of Microsoft OneDrive. So there are many benefits of Microsoft OneDrive that includes, first one is that there is unlimited file access and you can access that file anytime from anywhere. Files available from anywhere for collaboration, as it says, organizational platform for files. Then it free up your device storage, which means your system storage will be freed if you are using the OneDrive for Business, which is of course cloud. Then shareable content across teams, large or small. You can share multiple files with your team members, with a colleague, or outside company as well if it is allowed. Then customizable sync experience, which admins can only do if they want to restrict syncing on somebody's OneDrive or on all the users OneDrive, they can do it from their end, having the admin rights. Then it securely store your files and information. As I mentioned earlier, it comes with Microsoft security. So it supports multimedia as well. Then it tightly integrates with other Microsoft products, including the Office 365. So the difference between OneDrive and OneDrive for Business. Many of you might be thinking that OneDrive was a name which was given in 2014, and after then it was changed to OneDrive for Business. So why is it changed basically? The reason of changing is they look similar, their name is similar, but they're not actually similar. It is an upgradation of OneDrive. So if you see the OneDrive on the left hand side, it is a basic file storage technology that you have to install OneDrive on your systems. So now this OneDrive for Business based on SharePoint technology, which means it is on cloud. It is very much similar to SharePoint where you are sharing your files. Then on the OneDrive, there was a limited collaboration feature, but in OneDrive for Business, there are more, that is more robust collaboration feature. There are having multiple features with which you can collaborate with your colleagues. Then in OneDrive, there was 5 GB of storage space only available if you are using a free account, if you are not buying any license. But in OneDrive for Business, there is 1 TB of storage, that is 1000 GB, which is 1024 GB basically. So it's huge. The difference is huge if you can see. And then now let's try to understand OneDrive for Business, what exactly it is. So OneDrive for Business is Microsoft Cloud Storage Service and is also a part of Office 365 suite of application and services, as I mentioned above. So it is very much similar to Google Drive, Dropbox, Box, Amazon S3, Mediafire, etc. The difference is like it comes with Microsoft, few comes with Google, few comes from Amazon, like that. But there are, of course, security of Microsoft on which you can always trust. Then how are you going to access OneDrive for Business? So there are four basic ways with the help of which you can access your OneDrive and work with these files that are stored on your OneDrive for Business. So on the right hand side, if you see, there are four ways with which you can access or log into OneDrive. The first one is web browser. You can access this OneDrive from your browser. Then you can also access this OneDrive using a Windows application. Then you can access this OneDrive via the Office application. And then also you can access this OneDrive via your mobile phones when you have a OneDrive application installed. So for all of them, the only thing you need is an account, an email ID, and a password. So since we are here, we are having a OneDrive for company. So in that case, your login ID should be your company email ID and the password. It can access directly from SharePoint as well. Let me show you how you can access this OneDrive from SharePoint directly. So, for example, most of you are already aware that we have already started migrating our app data, like the data on the app server, to SharePoint. Okay, SharePoint Cloud. So from here, if you open the SharePoint, if you already logged into the SharePoint, all you need to do is you need to click on these dots. Here you will automatically see this OneDrive. Once you click on this OneDrive, it even don't prompt you to enter the login ID and password again. Why? Because you can access this OneDrive from this SharePoint and you already are logged into SharePoint, which means you are logged into all these applications. So you don't need to log in again. That is what it says. You can directly access via SharePoint as well. So let's try to understand when you first log into OneDrive, what are the things you see in front of you? What are the panes? What those panes called as? So this will be the view as soon as you log into your OneDrive. This is something you see in front of you. This is how the dashboard of OneDrive looks like. So let's try to understand what are these things, what is on the left, what is on the top, what is on the right. So using the OneDrive web interface, because this is what I've shown you, the web interface. When you first log into OneDrive, this is how it looked like. The OneDrive for Business web interface is made of five basic parts: ribbon, search box, navigation pane, file and folder list, and information pane. So see, this is the actual dashboard of OneDrive. On the top corner left, if you see, here is the search box where you can type something and you can search all the files that you are having in your OneDrive. And on the top again, on the right hand side, this whole field is called ribbon, where you have multiple options like setting, notifications, and then your picture, how to upload the picture and all. On the left hand side, this whole pane is called navigation pane, which means it will show you the files you are having, recent files, the files you have shared with somebody. You can also discover the files within your OneDrive. And if you have deleted anything in OneDrive, that you will find it in recycle bin until unless you have not permanently deleted those files. This whole pane, left hand side pane, is called navigation. The center one, the middle one, is called file and folder list, where you will see, of course, all your files, the name of those files, who has modified those files, if it is a shared file or not, if it is only you who are accessing these files, or if there is a file that you are sharing with somebody. And on the right hand side, that is called information pane. So whenever you are selecting any file from the file and folder list, on the right hand side, you can see the properties of that file. Like it is showing 11.6 KB, which means this file is 11.6 KB. It was generated in July, and these many people are having access to this particular file. So this is the information pane, which will show you all the information and properties of your file. Welcome to OneDrive, and OneDrive is to access and share your documents and photos anywhere on any device. And please bear with me if there is any background noise you are seeing, because there's already one more meeting going on at the back end. So maybe you are able to hear that voice as well. So please bear with it. So the next one is, how are you going to identify the OneDrive? So when I have already shown you the double click the OneDrive for business icon in the Windows system tray, which means whenever you are having a OneDrive already installed on your system, you see at the bottom, this is the cloud like an icon, which is your OneDrive. So with the help of this, you can just, double click on this and you will see all your files. If you have recently uploaded any file, you will see it here. Otherwise, you click on open folder, it will show you all the files which you are having on your system. And then if you want to view those files online, then you click on view online. It will just prompt you to enter the login ID and the password, and you can see all those files online. And if you have deleted any file on the OneDrive, that you can see it under recycle bin. And the top one is a setting option, which I have already shown you, that versioning, about, and all, you'll find it from here. And then the next one is accessing OneDrive via Windows. As I have told you that there are multiple ways to access OneDrive. So the other way to access OneDrive is via Windows instead of online. A window file explorer window will open the OneDrive files displayed in the right hand side of the pane. So it will look like this. So for example, this is my file explorer. I go here on the left hand side. I already see that there is a OneDrive and then the company name will show. If I'm already logged into OneDrive, it will show me like this. So from here, I can see all the folders which I'm having online on OneDrive as well as which I'm having on system. If I have enabled a sync between my system and online, then whatever I will paste it inside these folders, it will automatically get uploaded on your OneDrive online. So you don't have to worry about, uploading it manually. So this is how the another way you can access your OneDrive using this file explorer. On the left hand side, you'll find the OneDrive. That is what it says. And major difference, like people are sometimes very much confusing between Dropbox and OneDrive. Which one should you use? So Dropbox did a great job of marketing and stealing the cloud storage market. Of course, it helps you share, and many organizations are already using this. But many organizations may ask you why they would make a move from one provider, like from Dropbox to the other from Microsoft. So there are two key considerations here. First one, if you're already paying for Office 365 license, as I said earlier, OneDrive is already included in your subscription. So there is no point you can pay again for for this Dropbox or any third party tool. The second one is OneDrive security. So the security comes directly from Microsoft, and the access can be controlled globally via the Office 365 security. So you are having all the account settings, meaning all your data remains in one place, and you can access that data from easily from anywhere. And the IT basically has a control over that access, so that if in case you lose something in future, IT will be able to recover it somehow. So ultimately, the OneDrive is an excellent solution for cloud-based storage and content sharing, whether for business or for individual. You can use OneDrive. You can also use OneDrive using your personal email IDs as well as company email IDs. So on both, you will get storage, equal storage. So OneDrive hosts important feature that enhances how content is archived, retrieved, and being shared. So OneDrive basically is also known as three tool. So OneDrive for business is basically three tool in one application. So the three tools means the storage, synchronization, and sharing. So OneDrive for business is a storage tool, as you already know. So like your home drives, earlier you were having your home drives on your network, right? You're having H drive or you're having Z drive where you are saving all your data. Now you can store all the files in your OneDrive for business, which means you no longer need any additional drive on your computer. You already can sync your OneDrive for business on your computer. So it is very much similar to the people who might have already worked on home drives on their network. So of course, it is a file storage medium. So files stored in your OneDrive are copied and synchronized with your Windows desktop. So you can work with them offline as well, which means if you already have enabled the sync between your system files and OneDrive online. So whenever you do not have internet, if you still want to access those files, if the sync is already enabled, if there were files which were already copied to your OneDrive online, you can directly read those files, or you can even work on those files offline as well. So you can create links to those files. You can share those files with your other colleagues. And then of course, it helps you in collaboration. Using the OneDrive window app. There are no specific procedure for working with OneDrive files in your Windows Explorer. You can use all the same commands and procedure that you are already using in your Windows. When you're opening any file in your Window Explorer, it is exactly the same way you will open your files from OneDrive on besides the Window Explorer as I've shown you here. So it is exactly the same. So desktop, downloads, documents, picture, same way when you're accessing or working on files, same way you have this OneDrive and it's having folders. Within that, you're having file, control copy, control C, control V, paste. Like that, you can use all those commands. Apart from that, I will also send you a list of commands, keyboard shortcuts after the end of this training. So that will actually help you customize this OneDrive and will help you work even faster. So sharing files, how are you going to share files via OneDrive? So there are different ways to share files: web browser, Windows app, Office app, and mobile apps. So files stored on OneDrive for business can be shared with others via any of the platforms as discussed so far. The interface for sharing files using the web browser and the Windows Sync client are nearly the same. So whatever you see on OneDrive online, the same things you will see on your File Explorer, near to your File Explorer, OneDrive Windows client, because if you have already enabled the sync, so there'll be no difference. So how are you going to share the files via OneDrive online as well as from your Windows client? So if you see this window over on the right hand side, the picture, let me just quickly show you first how you can open the OneDrive online and how you can share the files. So let's try to open the OneDrive using this OneDrive option. There is another option. You just type OneDrive. This OneDrive.liv.com live.com will come up and you press enter. It will prompt you to enter your user ID and password if you have not logged in. If you already logged in, then you can directly open this and OneDrive. It should let you log in without even prompting the credential. So if you have noticed here, it is telling me to enter the credential. Why? Because I have opened this OneDrive using the link. But here, because I already logged into SharePoint, when I clicked on this OneDrive, it didn't prompt me to enter the credentials. OK, so that is a thing which I was talking about earlier. So now here I can see my OneDrive. OK, this is the dashboard view of my OneDrive. Now, if I want to share any particular file, for example, I want to share this file to one of my colleague, what I'll do is I'll just select this file. On the top, you will see this share option. You click on share. And here it will ask you a few of the things where it will tell you that you are sharing this link, the file name. It will show you people you want to specify who should receive this file. Here you can just enter the email addresses or the name of the people. If you are sharing it within the company, then you can just enter the name and it will automatically pick the email address from your global address book, which is from your Outlook. But if you are entering somebody outside, like the email address of somebody outside, of course, if you enter the name, the email address won't come. So in that case, you have to type the full email address like that. For example, mail.com, like that. And then you can just assign this person this particular file. So now when you're entering the email address, the other thing is what permissions do you want to give on this file to that particular person. So if you click on this pencil like icon, you will see there are two options that says that person can edit this file if he received that file, or he should only be able to view that file on OneDrive. OK, so likewise, you can define the permission here. If you want to send any message, hi, this is a test file or anything ABC, you can just mention like that when you're sending this file, and then you click on send. It will send your this file via a link which will be via Outlook. OK, so there will be a link that will be, the file will not be sent as it is. It will send in a form of link so that the person will receive your email with a link. The person will click on that link and the person will be prompted to enter his login ID or password if he's not logged into OneDrive. If you already logged into OneDrive, then of course it will not prompt him to log in again. It will simply accept this file, open the link, and the file will come up and he can download or he can read, write, edit directly on the same platform on which you are working, which means it will help you in collaboration. So you both can work at one time using that link. So the other way to share your file is you click on this copy option. Okay. For example, if you have multiple users, if you have multiple senders, so you, instead of entering the email address here, you just copy the link. Okay. It will, for example, okay, so you just click on this link, copy the link. It will create one link. You copy this link and you can share that link from your Outlook instead of sharing it directly. You already copied the link. You paste this link. There is a link behind that. If you see, this is the complete link. If I want to change the name, so this is the link to your OneDrive, and here likewise you can send to multiple people. You can send to multiple people, and you do not need to worry that the people should receive or not. So of course, if you're sending it via Outlook, they will definitely receive. That will show you in your send items, right? So that is also one of the way. That is what it says. To begin the sharing process using the web, select the file and then click share link button on the ribbon, and then you are good to share the file. The other thing is, if you don't want to share the file via the OneDrive online, in that case, you can directly share the file from your File Explorer folder, which means if I want to share this file, what do I have to do? I just right click on that, and then there is an option called, I'll click on show more option. There is an option called share. I click on share, and then it will automatically upload this data, and then it will give you the exact same field that you have to enter the email address, and then you click on send, it will be sent. So which means you do not need to log into OneDrive online. You can directly share it from this File Explorer as well. That is what it says. To begin the sharing process from Windows, right click on the file name and select the share option, and then you are good to go. The other thing is sharing permissions. So in both the cases, in whether you are sharing it online or offline, in both the cases, once the share option is selected, the send link dialog box will appear, which we have already discussed here. The link setting dialog box allows you to choose the following: the audience you are sharing file with, like you can enter the email addresses, what kind of access, editing or viewing access you want to give. And by default, these options on the right hand side, you see anyone, people, specific people. These options by default are set from the admin center, which means the administrator has already set these options for you. You just have to choose between read, write, or read. So you click on send, and once all the steps have been completed, you click on send and the file will be sent to a recipient. Now, you can also, there is one more thing, you can also directly share your file, or you can directly upload your files from your Outlook, which means before you start the sharing process, all you need is you should be having that particular file on your OneDrive online, and then you can directly upload it. Let me show you. So for example, if I have one email, on that email, there is some attachment. For example, let's open some email. Okay, for example, this is the email. Okay, there's an attachment. Now I don't want that. First, I should save this attachment on my desktop. From my desktop, I should upload it to OneDrive, and then I'll delete from my desktop. Not like that. You just right click on this attachment. There's an option called upload. You directly upload to OneDrive. So it will be uploaded to OneDrive. And then if you want to share it with somebody later, you can directly do it, which means you do not have to save these files on your desktop or somewhere else on your local system. You can directly upload it to OneDrive because you have already logged into OneDrive. So this is a very good feature with which you can, of course, use. Okay, so that's what it says. So on the file menu, select share and upload OneDrive. If you have not uploaded to OneDrive, for example, if this particular document is not uploaded to OneDrive, once I click on upload OneDrive, first it will upload. If you see here, it is saving, which means it is uploading to OneDrive. Once it is saved, then you go back and you share the file to OneDrive, from OneDrive to anybody. You just open your OneDrive and you'll find this document over there. Okay, modify permissions, which means once you have shared the file to somebody, you still have a chance that you can modify the access, which means if by default you have given somebody, if you have given the permission to read write, later if you don't want that person should read write, that person should only be able to read or view the files. You should not be able to make any changes. You still can do it. So there is an option to see further information and to make changes, click manage access. Once you share all the files, if you see here, so there are people, for example, if I have shared one file to 4 people, okay, I'll go to that file. I'll see to whom all I have shared that file, and within their just under their name, I'll see that option can view, can edit. So what access I have given, it will show me over there, and then I can click on that option in order to change it. I can change the person access from view to read write, and from read write to view, which means to edit. So edit, read write are both same. View and read only are both same. So you can change the access still after you have granted the access to a particular file to anybody. And even once you think that you have shared a file with somebody, and after some time you just want to remove the access, same way you click on that can view or can edit drop down. There you'll find an option called stop sharing, and that person will no longer be able to see that file which you have already shared, if that person has not downloaded the file and if you have not given the permissions to download. So if your user forwards, for example, you have shared one file to another person and you don't want the he should share the file outside your organization. You just want to share that file particularly with that person. You don't want that person should be able to send that file ahead. So if that user forwards a sharing link to another user that you did not grant the access to that person via one of the procedures, so then the other third user will get an error message as soon as he try to open that file. That particular user will get an error message saying access is denied. In that case, he has to request the access to the actual owner of the file, which means the confidentiality can still be maintained. So let's jump to the interesting tips now. So the first one is, if you have downloaded OneDrive on your phones. Okay, so in that case, it is very important that you can secure those files. You can keep it secret if you want to lock those files. There is an option as soon as you download the application on your phones. There is an option under the settings where you can set the PIN for your OneDrive, which means only if you enter the PIN, then only you can enter your OneDrive, and nobody else, even if somebody knows the password of your phone, if you have put in the lock code on your OneDrive, that person won't be able to open your files. And you can also open that OneDrive application on your phone using that code instead of every time log into that application on your phone. So that is one of the good feature, as well as it's a tip that you can do it. The another interesting way is you can save or upload the attachments directly to OneDrive. As I have shown you earlier from Outlook, you just right click on that and you can upload files directly to OneDrive. You do not need to save on your desktop first and then you upload it to OneDrive. No, you can directly do it by right clicking on that icon on the attachment and then just upload from here. So it will be saved. And for example, if you have recently shared that file with somebody, then that will also appear here. For example, right now it's showing me MS Form owners, which means there was some file which I have shared with MS Form owner. So this is basically a group of people. So maybe I have shared some file with those owners. So if I want to share this particular file again with those owners, so in my recent list, I will see all those names. Another interesting fact is that you can scan your documents to your OneDrive. So if you have already installed OneDrive on your phones or on your tablets or on your iPads, in that case, what you can do is, in order to scan any file, you just open this application on your phone, OneDrive application. At the extreme right corner side bottom, you'll see this camera icon. In that case, you click on the camera icon, you just scan the document, and that's it. Once the document will be scanned, it will automatically tells you to crop this if you want to crop that particular document, and then you can directly save it on the cloud, which means you do not need a separate application to scan your documents and to upload it. Sometimes, somebody is asking that, okay, I want, can you please send me a scan copy of your, for example, of your resume. So in that case, what you do is you open your OneDrive on your phones. You just have the hard copy of your resume. You just open this camera icon, you scan your resume, and then you can directly upload on OneDrive and you can share. It doesn't require any third-party application in order to open that file or in order to share that file. So that is again one of a very good tip which you can use. So now let's go back to this OneDrive online. So as you can see on the left hand side, there are multiple things. So the first one on the left hand side will show me my name, my files, my recent files, my files which I have shared with somebody, then recycle bin. Below to that, because I have opened this file from the SharePoint, so it will also give me some quick access links to switch between OneDrive and the SharePoint. So from here, I can directly click on the data warehouse and I'll go back to the SharePoint. Here I can see all my folders. If you click on those three dots, you have multiple options. You have option to share. You have option to copy the link of this file. Then you can manage the access. If, for example, right now, if you see on the right hand side, the sharing is private, which means I have not shared this folder with anybody. So once I share this folder with somebody, then the private thing will change to shared. Okay. And then if you want to manage the access, for example, if you have shared this folder to three people now, and to those three people, you have given different access. To one, you have given read write access. To the other, you have given read write, read only access. So likewise, you click on manage access and you can switch their accesses. Or if you want to stop the access, you can do it from this. Also, if you want to download any file which you have uploaded directly on OneDrive online, if you want to download it on your desktop, then you can do it using this download icon if it is enabled. Then you can also delete this folder directly from your OneDrive online. It will of course free up your space on cloud. Then you can move this folder. Similarly, you are doing on SharePoint or somewhere on your computer, you can move this folder outside to a different folder or inside to a different folder. Then you can copy the content of this folder inside a different folder. You can rename this folder. You can automate. You can use this Power Automate. There is a application called Power Automate. If you want to import this folder directly to the Power Automate application, you can do it directly from this. And then of course, you have these details like its properties, like what is the size of the folder, what is the name of this folder, when exactly it's been created, such kind of things you'll find it under details. On the top, if you select all these files, then you will get these three options: delete, move to, copy to, and sort, which means you are arranging these folders based on the alphabets, maybe A to Z. And then it will show you the properties, how many files you have selected. These three dots will give you the list view, like you can change the view of these files. How do you want to see? You want to change it to compact? Do you want to change it to tiles or list? And of course, on the right hand side, it will again, it is basically, if you select one file, you click here, it will tell you the property of that file again. If it is shared with somebody, then it will show you the name of those people with which it is shared. If it is not shared with anybody, then it will show you something like this: this item is not being shared. Then the property, if you want to change the name, instead of renaming it from here, you can change the name directly from here. If you want to apply any kind of label just for the identification purpose, you can do it from here as well. And now, if you have noticed, when I select all the files, I'll get only 4 options. Now, if I select one file, I'll get few more options, which is to copy the link, to share, and these things as well over here, these 3 options. So that's it. On the top, you'll see these setting options, which means if you want to change the background of your OneDrive, if I want to change it like this, I'll choose this color. If I want to change the background like this, I'll do it from here. I can choose any theme just to customize my dashboard interface. Then if I want these file, whatever I have in my OneDrive, I want to convert these file into a different languages. Right. So in that case, you click on this choose your language. You can check your time zone, and these files will automatically be converted into that time zone, as well as will be converted into those languages. So dark mode, you are already aware this is a feature of a new upgrade, that if you want to change the background to light, then in that case you can keep it as switch off dark mode. Otherwise, you can keep the dark mode on. Here you can set your OneDrive password if you want to change your OneDrive password, because here we are using single sign-on, which means whatever the password you are using in order to log into computer, the same password you can use it in order to access your OneDrive. If you want to keep a different password, like for example, if you are having your OneDrive personal instead of having a company OneDrive, if you are having your personal OneDrive, in that case, you use this option to change the password directly. Then contact preferences, which is like to set your contact details. Okay, like your phone number and all, just for the purpose of multi-factor authentication, for example. That's it. In the settings, you're having these many options. This one is for help. Like how are you, if you want any help from Microsoft, if you want to raise any uh, issue to Microsoft directly, you can use this help option. There are some articles also, you can read it over here just to start your OneDrive. And then from here, you will see your picture. You can change your picture from here. You'll see all your account details and the associated accounts with your OneDrive. For example, if you have multiple accounts, you are using your personal email account also in order to log in, you'll see it here. If you're using your company email account, you see it here. So here are the top 10 takeaways from this training. So you have been hit with a lot of new information, I hope, today, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed at something new. So let's check out the topics, top 10 from this training. So the first one is Microsoft for Business is Microsoft Cloud Storage Service, and it's a part of Office 365 suite of service and application. OneDrive for Business is the three tool in one, as I've shown you earlier: storage, synchronization, and sharing. OneDrive for Business does not replace your current network storage. So your current network storage is there as it is. It is providing you an additional storage or your SharePoint storage. It is not replacing anything. It's a new tool with new features, of course. There are many ways to access your files stored on your OneDrive for Business, including the web, Windows, and through Office, as I've shown you multiple ways of opening OneDrive. Then the fifth one is the web interface of OneDrive for Business is the most feature rich of the access method, because this OneDrive for Business is the latest one. So it's having multiple features. Sixth one is the OneDrive for Business Windows Sync client makes it possible for you to work with OneDrive files when offline. If you have already enabled the sync, then if the files which you have already uploaded, you can directly work without internet as well. OneDrive for Business files can be accessed directly through the Office applications or indirectly in other apps via the same client. Regardless of the interface, OneDrive for Business uses many of the same commands and procedures as Windows. As I said, I will also share with you the keyboard shortcuts. So OneDrive for Business is good for collaborating on a document with one or two other users for a limited period of time. You can also set the time for which period you want to set the document, like if you want to stop the access like that. As the owner of your OneDrive for Business, you are the only one who can grant or take away access to the files, which means whenever you are sharing any file, only you are the authorized person to provide an access to a third person, or it will only happen with your approval. If you are sharing any file to somebody, if that person wants to share the file ahead, either he has to download the file, upload the file, like that he can share. If he directly wants to share using the link, then it will come to you via email first for an approval, and then only it will happen. Okay, so the next one is we have a short survey, a short question, which will now come up on your screen. You just have to choose the right answer to those questions to see like if you understand that training well or no. So I'm just going to submit first question. Okay, so the first question, many of you are able to see OneDrive can be accessible via browser or via Windows. So you can choose the option. I'll wait for the response. Whosoever is not able to see this survey on their screen, they can just write down the answer in the comment box. I'll just wait for a few more seconds so that I'll receive the responses. So the first question is OneDrive can be accessible via browser or via Windows. So the options are browser only. The other option are Windows. The other option are both. You can access OneDrive from browser as well as via Windows. The last option is none of the above. I have already received few responses. I'll just wait for a few more seconds so that I'll receive the response from other users as well. You just have to select the appropriate answer which you think, and then you submit, and that will be registered as a answer. Later, I will show you the actual answer to this question. You can just select the actual answer and submit. OneDrive can be accessible via browser or Windows. So I can see the people are selecting browser only, Windows only, both. None of the above. Nobody has selected so far. So I'll just wait for a few more seconds, and because I have already received 10 responses so far. So whatever you think is the answer, you just select and submit. Okay, now let me tell you the answer to this question. So OneDrive can be accessible via browser or Windows. The answer is both. As I've shown you, you can access your OneDrive from your browser directly by login or via the Windows, which means it is synced on your computer. So the answer is both. I'm going to launch the second survey. So the question is, can you edit permissions after sharing any file via OneDrive? So is it possible to edit permissions after you send a file via OneDrive to somebody? Can you set the permissions later? Can you edit? So you have to choose between yes or no. There are two options. You can just select yes or no. I'll repeat the question again for those who are not able to see the survey. Can you edit permissions after you share a file to a user via OneDrive? Yes or no? So I have received 10 responses already so far. Just wait for a few more seconds. Okay, I've received 11 responses. Can you edit permissions after sharing any file via OneDrive? Yes or no? Okay, so let me answer this question. So the question was, can you edit permissions after sharing any file via OneDrive? So the correct answer is yes, you can edit the permissions, which I have shown you that there is an option. If you have given read only permission to somebody, then you can change it to read write. If you have given read write permission, you can change it to read only. So the correct answer is yes, you can. So the third question I'm going to launch now. So the question is OneDrive different from OneDrive for Business? The answer is the options are both are same. And the second option is yes, it is different. So the question is OneDrive different from OneDrive for Business? You can select the appropriate answer and then you submit your response. The options are both are same. The other option is yes, it's different. I've already received response from multiple people. I'll just wait for a few more seconds. I'll repeat the question and options again for those who can directly ping me on chat. Is OneDrive different from OneDrive for Business? Options are both are same. The other one is yes, it is different. Okay, so the answer to this question is yes, OneDrive is different from OneDrive for Business because it's an upgraded version. I have already shown you the difference between OneDrive and OneDrive for Business earlier. So the option is yes, it is different. So people who have responded yes, they are correct. The next one is it's just a feedback kind of thing. Did you learn something new today in this training? You can select yes or no. If you have learned something, anything new in this training, you can click yes. If you're already aware of all those things, you can select no if you have not learned anything today. So you can just select your answer in between yes or no. Just wait for a few more seconds so that I'll receive the response from users. If you have learned something new today in this training, please click yes or no. I'll keep this poll because there is no correct answer. For people who learn, they can click yes. For people who do not, who have not learned anything, they can click no. So there is no correct answer to this question or any wrong answer to this question. You can just put in your answer. So the next one is, how do you evaluate the performance of this training? So there are four options. The first option is low, which means how do you think this training was? How do you evaluate the performance? So there are four options: low, average, good, and excellent. So in between those four options, you can choose any, and then you submit your response. So again, there is no correct or a wrong or answer to this question. You can just set the answer as per the training which you have received from low, average, good, and excellent. And just wait for a few seconds so that I'll receive the response from everybody. And I'll keep this poll as active, which means you can evaluate the performance of this training from good, excellent, average, and low. The last one is if you have any feedback or if you have any comments for this training, then you can just put in the answer field. So there'll be a prompt which will be on your screen right now. There is a feedback slash comments thing, and then there is a enter your response. In that enter your response, if you want to provide any feedback, you can just enter it over there and you submit it. So this poll, I'll keep it as active. So whatever is your feedback or your comments, you can just enter and submit. So this you can do it anytime because I am keeping this poll active, which means if you have any comments or any response, you can just mention and you can submit. That's it, everyone. So thank you so much for your active participation. If you have anything to ask regarding this training,